Hey, Aidan, it's Coach Benlin here. Just breaking down some of your swings from our December session. Um, I drew everything up on a PDF I could send over to you. That should help with some of the language and the terminology. I can walk us through that right now before we look at some video clips. And I have a couple drills I want to recommend at the end. Um, I think we kind of have to get back to some fundamentals of your swing to make sure we're going back to squaring up baseballs. And a lot of it has to do with head movement and balance. You're starting to use your hips a little more, use your lower half, but I think that's having a negative effect on some of your upper body stuff. And there's too much movement, and I feel like you're not seeing the ball as well as you should. But I'll walk you through the document right here. We'll take a look at some of the swings, and I'll send this over to you after. I have three points of focus here I want to talk about. First, starting with the head, we talk about having a quiet upper half, right? Not too much movement, especially with your head. We want to minimize head movement. That helps with seeing the ball, tracking the ball 60 feet from the pitcher's out of the pitcher's hands. I like to say, you can't hit what you can't see. So we got to make sure that our head is down. We're seeing the ball. Watching your swings when your head's down and it's still and it's looking at the barrel at the point of contact, you have some good swings. You make some solid contact. But when your head starts moving around, there's a lot of mishits, and we want to make sure that we're focusing on keeping that head still, starting on the front shoulder locked, tracking the ball to the barrel, head down at the point of contact, and finishing on the back shoulder, shoulder to shoulder with the head movement. Speaking about balance, I noticed that your back foot is jumping forward and it's landing underneath your body. It's kind of like you're stepping almost behind yourself, and that's leading to you falling over. And I'll show you in the video clip. You can see what it means. I think we could do some drills where we isolate those movements. There's the walk it out drill I'll talk about where we did it in the clinics where we take one step forward, we stride out with our hands back, 1, 2, 3, till we get to that stretch point, getting into that launch position and just focus on our hips and our hands. There's also a low stride swing drill that I'll show you. I found on YouTube, someone demonstrating it that you can do on your own at home. And lastly, for the points of focus, talking about the approach. I think you're trying to go out and meet the ball and you're lunging at it and you're standing, you're finishing upright. I think we need to go back to just letting the ball travel, letting the ball come to us, hitting it where it's pitched. We talk about breaking the plates into thirds, right? Letting the inner half pitches, dropping the barrel on them. Middle pitches, staying up the middle back at the L screen in the cages. And then the outer third, right? Seeing it a little bit deeper and going the opposite way, hitting all pitches to all fields. So continuing to focus on that in our approach. As far as adjustments, I have two major adjustments here I want to work on. Talking about the balance again. You're still lunging forward. I think you're transferring too much weight onto the front foot sometimes, and I think that you're over swinging, and that has to do with the head movement. Maybe potentially choking up might help. I know we've experimented with that before. Keeping control of the barrel, and we'll talk about a hold your pose finish that we've talked about, where after each swing you're not in a rush, right? You're finishing that swing and you're holding where you finish so that you could see, am I falling over? Where is my tipping point? Am I finishing with my lower half where I want to be? So after each swing, you can hold and kind of self-check and self-regulate to make sure that you're doing things correctly. And the second adjustment is talking about hand path, specifically about the bottom hand. We talk about throwing the frisbee. Um, in the last video, we talked about you locking that front arm and yanking your front shoulder and your head with it. And I see it in more swings the more I watch. We want to make sure that the bottom hand is leading the way. It's out in front. It's getting extended out in front. It's not locking over the plate. We talk about throwing the frisbee and letting it release out in front, and pulling that knob so that it gets inside of the ball, in front of the ball, and leads the way, letting the barrel kind of lag behind. So throwing the frisbee with the bottom hand, getting that knob out there early. I'll show you in the video as well. And then what I really want to see going forward, I think I want to, talking about the approach, go back to seeing pitches get a little deeper, staying working to right center field in the cage, right? Not lunging out for it, letting it get to us, letting it travel. Over exaggerating the knob, leading the way, right? Um, Getting your hands out in front, and then focusing on that knob and the hand path rather than kind of steering the battle. I think sometimes you see, oh, the ball's coming in. Let me, jam my foot in the ground and just drop the barrel on it. And you try to steer the barrel with the left hand, your bottom hand, left arm, and you kind of just lock it and try to get the barrel on it. Let the hands do the work. Stay closed on the front side, and we'll work on that going forward in the next sessions. But let's take a look at some of the swings, and then I'll show you a couple of the guys that we can try to emulate going forward. So looking at these swings here from one of our last sessions, keep in mind the head movement and the balance points. Let's watch these. Let's start with the lower half. Watch where that back foot lands sometimes. Sometimes it's very consistent. Sometimes it's way out there, and you'll see when you tip over. So you fall into the third base side there. Watch that back foot. You got decent balance there. Some of them, see how it's like going almost behind you, and you'll see you almost fall over on a couple of them. That's a bad pitch. We'll take that. Take that pitch. Don't practice swinging at that. Right there. Look how inside that foot is. It's almost behind the heel of your front foot. Let's watch it one more time. Let's take a look at the head movement now too. When you're locked in, you have some pretty good contact. Right there, not bad. Track it 60 feet. You know, see it all the way into the barrel. Right there, head all the way open, looking into the third base box. They're right there. Another good piece of hitting. Head down all the way. Seeing the pitch in. But balance and the head movement are two things that no matter what we do with the swing, if those two things aren't there, it leads to a lot of mishits. Let me show you a different clip here. Okay. This is from the other cage. I believe I was pitching to you here. Let's check it out. Good shot there. So there's the balance again with the head movement. I can see that you're frustrated. What I also like about this, though, is that if you look at where you're standing, right, and you see this white line cutting through here, you can kind of see where your starting point is with your feet and where they're ending up. So use this white line as a way to track your movement in your lower half. Stepping across there. So you're kind of lunging at the ball. I think you're trying to do too much and overswing a little bit rather than letting the ball just come to you. So we want to minimize some of these movements. Continue to use the hips, because I know we worked on that before. But focus on the hand path. Focus on throwing the hands. Let's watch one more time. Couple good swings here, but it's just the inconsistency we have to develop. Right there. That's a good shot right there. I think there's another one in here too. Yeah, those are two good shots back to back. Let's watch those two again real quick. Right here, these two. See the load. Get that big leg kick. It's coming down. Your head down. Good tracking point right there. Almost at the plate. See how the front arm's kind of locking though? But you're trying to hold on with your eyes. You're trying to stay on the barrel. But as soon as that front side locks, that front arm locks, and that shoulder opens, your head's going to automatically get pulled. Here it is again. Full speed. Oh, that's a miss hit. So just some of these, you know, the head movement and the balance are two things we're gonna look at, and I'll show you a drill in a second. But I want to show you what some of the professionals look like taking BP. I feel like you're trying to do too much sometimes when you're overswinging. So let me pull that up and show some of the guys I like. Two of my favorite swings actually. One of them is Bregman. Here's him hitting in the cages. Let me open this up and just look at what he's working on. Balance, right? Not too much movement. Working on his hands. So check this out. And this is one of my favorite swings, actually. He's also a guy who chokes up, which I recommend for you to take control of that barrel. Very compact swing, quick to the ball, high hand path. He really gets his knob out there leading the way, which is something we're going to work on. But just look at the balance. This is what we want to work on. He's not getting too wide where he's tipping one way. He's staying, he's starting shoulder length apart with his feet, adding about another half of the length as he steps forward. We're all about balance. Look how little his head is moving as he's tracking the pitch in. There's another guy I really like here. I'll show you. Tatis. You gotta check this out. Another one of my favorite swings. He's an on-field BP here. Notice the balance, the head movement again, minimal head movement, staying quiet with the upper body. Not lunging. He has that balance point right down the middle. Good take there. Mix those into our BP sessions. So going forward, when we work on our next sessions, we'll try to minimize too much movement, keep it simple, keep it compact, and work on, focusing on our hands, right? Not locking that arm, not overswinging. So I want to show you a quick drill you could do at home as well. It's called the, let me pull it up right here. Load, stride, swing. You could also do the walk it out drill that we did, the 3 steps in the last session. Load, stride, swing. So here he is. He's just going to isolate some movements to break it down. Get his hands back, front foot down, swing through the ball. 1, 2, 3. Hands back 1, stride forward while staying back, swinging through the ball. So something as simple as this, I think would really help you to minimize some of those movements that give you that, that mess with the balance a little bit. And you could also combine them a little bit and go just load and stride at the same time and then swing like that right there. Hands back, staying back while getting that front side forward and then swinging through the ball. Load, stride, swing drill. Definitely could help you, I think, practicing at home. So if you have any questions about any of this, I'll review quickly and I'll throw out my contact information. I'll also send over this document. Just reach out to me via email. I'll get back to you, no problem. And if not, we'll talk about it in the next session. So points of focus, keeping the upper half quiet, minimizing head movement, staying balanced, watching that back foot landing underneath you where you're tipping over, right? Letting the ball travel in our approach, not lunging, hitting the ball where it's pitched, not trying to do too much. For the adjustments, we want to work on maybe choking up, getting a little more back control, right? And avoid overswinging and trying holding the pose at the end of your swing while we're in the cage just to see how you're finishing. Adjustments, getting that knob out there, exaggerating that knob, throwing the frisbee, as we say, with the bottom hand, making sure our hands are leading the way and you're not trying to steer the barrel as much. Okay, definitely going to focus a lot on hands and hand path in the next session with you. I put it in my notes. Here's my contact information. If you need to reach out to me, email, just shoot one over here and I'll get right back to you. I'll see you next time in the next session. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, man.